One size fits all seemed like a good idea for clothes.
Nice dress. It's a t-shirt.
Until you tried it on. Same goes for your healthcare. That's why United Healthcare offers a variety of flexible, budget-friendly coverage for medical, vision, dental, and more. So whether you're between jobs, coming off a parent's plan, or even missed open enrollment, you can find the plan that fits you best. Find out more about United Healthcare coverage at uh1.com. That's uh1.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hello, I'm Josh Hallam and welcome back to another Just Films and That New Release review. I do hope you're well and thank you very much for tuning in. If you're listening to this on any app where you could give us a rating or review, if you could head on over there and give us a rating or review, a nice one, then we would very much appreciate it. But anyway, this time around, let's go ride a bike because I'm going to be reviewing the Bikeriders. As with the others, I'll keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but if you don't want to know anything at all, make sure you listen to this after you've seen it. In terms of the plot, it's based on the photo book written by Danny Lyon, and it chronicles his years spent with a Chicago-based motorcycle club that acts as a sort of a surrogate family, really, or friendship group for many of its members. It then follows these members through the 60s and 70s as the club maybe evolves in different ways, and most of them, or a lot of them, not necessarily good, shall we say. It's got Tom Hardy in it. It stars Tom Hardy as the founder of the club, Johnny, then Austin Butler, who plays a younger member of the club called Benny, and Jodie Comer rounds off the trio as Benny's wife, Kathy. Okay, so let's get stuck in then, starting with the positives, of which there are plenty, because I enjoyed this. It's directed by Jeff Nichols, and I think this might be the first film of his that I've seen. I looked through his filmography and I've heard of things like Mud and Take Shelter, but I don't think I've seen them. To be honest, I think this will probably be the first of his films that I think a lot of people will see, based on that difference in star cast members in this compared to other films. I certainly will be checking out some of his other films, though, because I thought this was exceptionally well directed. He does a great job of creating this world where nothing feels like it exists outside of this motorcycle club. So although the club grows and grows into chapters across the states, it feels like you're living in this sort of ship in a bottle type world as it begins to overflow and the cracks start to appear in the glass, shall we say. So I think the way he achieves that is he uses space and colour really well, so that he achieves this feeling that everything feels small and compact, but sparse and bleak at the same time. So then that makes this group of people feel like they're isolated, and it allows you to focus on them and their sort of trials and tribulations and camaraderie and stuff like that. He then fills the screen with so much great audio and visual stimulation that you can really, you can smell the fuel, the cigarettes and the leather jackets. You can listen to the roaring engines at the same time. Great use of narration to deliver exposition in this as well. So what you have is a journalist who obviously is the chap who wrote the original book, played by Mike Feist from Challengers, and he's interviewing Jodie Comer's character as she recalls the events of the film. And it's a device that I really like, but it is one that can easily go wrong. And you can end up having this feeling that a character is just telling you a bedtime story. But that's not the case in this, and I think that's largely down to that world that the director's created, but also Jodie Comer's performance, because I thought she was the real standout for me. If I had to compare it to other actors, I'd say this is her one part young Meryl Streep, one part Frances McDormand, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment, because her ability to build a character using her voice is up there with one of the best. The vocal range she has, I mean, if you've seen Killing Eve and other stuff she's done, brilliant, really, really, really good. And she has a lot to do in this, because she acts as both the narrator for our exposition and the emotional heart of the film too. And I thought she absolutely nailed it by building this character up to be strong but likable and funny. And like I say, she's using her voice, but also these little physical flourishes too, like how she draws her gaze to other characters and these little touches of physicality and gait, the way she walks, stuff like that. Rest of the cast are great too. So you've got Tom Hardy in there as the elder statesman of the club, he's got that quiet, brooding intensity that Tom Hardy does so well, but with an undercurrent of a softer side as things with the club seem to get away from him and maybe become something that he never intended them to be. You've got Austin Butler in there as well, who he brings a similar smolder, but with a little bit more youthful energy mixed with naivety and great chemistry with our Jodie. The rest of the cast are the ones who bring a little bit more levity to proceedings, as a lot of them act as they're just sort of these laid back, likable dopes who like riding their bikes and drinking beer and chatting about everything and nothing at the same time, and then that really heightens the impact as the film goes along with this real sort of theme of loss of innocence and stuff like that. In terms of negatives, there's a few plot issues for me with some exposition gaps leading me to question things like characters' motivations, intentions, or relationships. I won't really get into it because I can't really do it without spoiling, but what I will say is that I felt Austin Butler's character, he felt like a little bit of a passenger in this. He felt like he was more of a device representing a battle for something. Absolutely nothing wrong with his performance, but I'd like to have seen a bit more depth to him and his relationship with his wife in this, Jodie Comer's character, beyond them, just having really, really great chemistry. But they do have really, really great chemistry, and it does carry that a long way. Other than that, there's a pretty bad pair of false teeth on a character, but there's worse cinematic crimes than that. Overall, I'd say it's that same old idea around starting something and it descending into something more sinister. Loss of innocence, even something like Oppenheimer, what have I created? That sort of idea, but it's done well. It's this idea of corrupting people along the way, but it's a well-trodden path, and it's done really, really well with a particularly great performance from me, from Jodie Comer. But as ever, listen, this is just my opinion. Get out there, give it a watch, and make up your own mind. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time. Cheerio.